You have to make that call. As soon as that voice starts whispering is when you have to attend a meeting, ideally share, or make that call. If you wait to make that call till you're on the verge of taking that drink, it's typically too late. That's why no one makes the call. Your voice has already made up its mind. It doesn't want to be talked out of that.
Kind of like, the consequences, it's like, you're going to feel like shit. It could put you back to where you were, but you don't care because you're just like, you just want to numb out. Because sometimes when we get to a certain point, we might be having thoughts of drinking, but and sometimes they're not always the good ones.
And alcohol, the artificial dopamine, hijacks it. And that's, again, why you can't experience what you just said, pleasure in normal things. You need to get way up here. But if you stay sober, stay patient, it resets and comes back down.
In sobriety, when we're clear-minded, that's not worth it to me to try to moderate and have one drink. I don't want to lose that.
Okay, welcome into the Cappy Hour Podcast extravaganza with my guest today, Soba Megan Wilcox. Hello, Megan.
Hi, Cappy. Thanks for having me.
Hi. All right.
My sober brother.
That's right. I was about to say, we got to get to a little small talk right off the bat, but for anyone who possibly doesn't know her, Soba Megan runs Soba Sisters. She has a podcast, a sobriety community, and a coaching program. And I know her through the basically Soba Instagram. And my original accountability partner, iMom, went to her retreat in Bali years ago and couldn't stop raving about her. And we live within a half hour of each other, even though Megan's from Buffalo originally. She lives outside of Boston, as do I. About right, Megan? Okay.
Yeah, sounds about right. But although iMom came to Punta Cana with me on my Punta Cana retreat, not my Bali retreat. But
I had a Bali on the mind because you just went there and another friend is there currently.
Yeah.
So Megan and I are both ADHDers as well. How do you know that we're sober and have ADHD? We will tell you. At least I will. I don't know how much you talk about that other superpower of ours, Megan. But anyway, so I wondered if she would be on time. I've done so much work on it. I'm now borderline punctual. And she texted me right before, totally fine, but just said 4 minutes, which I also thought was funny. That's something I would say, a perfectionist blend instead of 5 minutes. And I'm like, she's not going to be 4 minutes. And I think she was more like 6. But she said she was blow drying her hair. And then she said she had a podcast date, which I thought was so funny. And I was so flattered. She was all done up for the podcast. And then we're recording this at 4:00 on a Saturday. And I said, what are you doing later? Assuming she had no plans like myself. And she said she had a date with a girlfriend for a comedy show. So
then you were disappointed. I didn't just get ready for the podcast. I actually have plans for one.
Yes. I saved my reaction. I said, I'm going to wait for the podcast to give you my reaction. Yes. I really was initially like, wow, she really got done up. And I'm just wearing my summer jacket. This is a short sleeve jacket that's a size too big for me, but it's really comfortable and it's loose and I like blue on me. So it's better than anything else short sleeve I own. So it tends to be my summer podcast wardrobe. So fun fact.
I will not share what else I'm wearing because I would scare if this goes video, which I know you do have video. So
you mean the rest of your outfit?
Yes.
All right. Now I'm curious what
it's not what I'm wearing out tonight. It's just my no one can see the bottom type of thing.
Got you. I did almost wonder if that was some kind of R-rated reference, but couldn't figure it out. Got it. Yes. Same here. I wear my bedtime briefs, large boxers. Anyway, now I see why you don't want to go there. So Megan, you just brought up, did you hear Boston? Oh, because you're going out in town tonight. Boston changed just for the World Cup, I think. Normally the Boston bars close at 2 a.m. and they're closing at 3 a.m. because the World Cup, we're one of the cities for it, correct, Megan? And you...
Yeah. Is that, I don't know if I just didn't realize that was probably why they did it, but so is it a permanent thing? I'm not sure. But
I think it's just temporary. But either way, you don't agree with it, you were saying, yes?
No, because I work in a level 1 trauma ER here in Boston. So I'm going to see all of we don't need an extra hour of people out drinking, and then driving home, because essentially, like, there are people that do that. Not everybody, of course, but I just think it's one more hour to like cause destruction. Nothing good happens out after midnight. And growing up in Buffalo, in New York, the bars are open to 4 a.m. So it was like such a change here to come, where it's like 1 or 2 in the city, but 1 kind of outside of it. But yeah, I think it's so stupid. And they even say it's to make more money. Like, that's what they say. I read somewhere.
Well, and the drinkers say they want it just to be open later. I listened to this local sports radio show, the Greg Hill Show, shoot me, but it's just kind of mindless radio in the morning. I prefer a podcast and the like, but then all I do is take notes the whole time. Anyway, they've been so in favor of it, and partially saying because people don't go out till later, but even in my drinking days, I was so grateful to know the bar was going to close at least by 2 a.m. I usually came nowhere near to making it and did my Irish exit well before it. But yeah, I think it's a blessing that it does close at that hour. I'm also in favor of not having happy hour. Even when I was a drinker, I understood it. They brought that up recently as well. It's a bummer. No drink specials. But to me, there's no question.
Yeah, that's it. That's the Massachusetts thing, though, the no happy hour thing. I mean, they do it other places. So they have like these weird rules. And then you can't buy, another one in Mass is you can't buy the alcohol after on a Sunday, like after 6 or something. I forget. It's been so long now, 5.5 years.
Yeah,
so.
it might be more like 8 or so now. But I do know when I owned my pizza shop for 5 years during COVID up till 2 years ago, it was 50 yards from a liquor store. Never buy a pizza shop. If you're an alcoholic, people pleaser, perfectionist, that's 50 yards from a liquor store. Anyway, they would close at 7 on Sundays. But I know that Total Wine, if I wanted to drive, was open till more like 8. But I was so bummed when I would miss the 7 o'clock. I would always try to make it because I would try to not have any liquor left because we were closed on Monday, Tuesday. So I'd try not to bring any home with me on Sunday nights. But if I needed a couple shot nips, as we call them, I don't know if that's universal either, I'd be so bummed if I missed it. But anyway, and yeah, also, yeah, Sunday mornings, I don't think they can sell till say 10 a.m. And then I just learned on Memorial Day, I was reminded not till noon. That one almost offended me, even as a sober person. I was like, what right do they have? Just because it's a holiday? People people are drinking on the holiday. So they forgot to buy it or whatever. They can't go till noon. I don't know. That's kind of rough on the drinkers, but.
So nice to not have to like worry about that, especially here. Obviously we have like the weirdest rules and the fact that they sell it in like, our Wegmans, the grocery store right near my house. And they sell, every liquor, beer, wine, everything. They have a whole huge section, as you know. But they even have it on all the end caps. And then they have it when I had a retreat here and a girl came from Canada and she just was going to grab like NA wine or something to bring back to the house. And she grabbed a couple that was all near the fruit section. She's like, got up to the line. She's like, what the heck? She's like, why is there actual liquor in the fruit section? I was like, yeah, they just put it everywhere. She couldn't believe it. Where she lives, they definitely don't do that. So
yeah.
Like, they try to get you. That's why that was a really hard thing to do at first, was go grocery shopping.
Yeah, Wegmans, which you must know, but big, huge grocery, I call them almost a not a superstore, but just a really big grocery store. They have wine, little baskets of it just everywhere around the store. Although very cool. When I worked from there last fall, they had an NA beverage, almost like a crawl around the store. It was the coolest thing.
Hey, we'll give them that then.
Yeah, I loved it. I was doing shots of NA beverages, which I coincidentally was doing a couple weeks ago when I was losing some of my resilience, which is the topic for today about really how to maintain sobriety, how to slip prevention. I love to say the promises of alcohol are all lies. And the promises of sobriety are all true. And that voice is the trickiest voice in the world. I say that voice is not us Because if it was, we'd all be the best salesmen in the world. I mean, that voice does not take no for an answer. And we are the worst negotiators because we let that voice completely screw us every single time, especially once, we as we progress. At best, alcohol only works for us for 20 minutes, and the amount of our lives we sacrifice for that 20 minutes, we just screw our future selves. So yeah.
I agree. The quote, sobriety gives us everything alcohol promised. And I definitely believe that. All the things we thought alcohol would give us, that it didn't. Sobriety, we can find it through that. And then as far as the part about how we forget about, or we try to convince ourselves, like that it will be different or things like that. And that is like our brain does this thing where it just remembers, like it's called like the fading bias effect, and it just remembers all of the good things, and it magically, to protect us, forgets all the bad things. And it's similar with, I just had ended a 10-year relationship, and it's just so the same. I see so many similarities, and it's like you remember all the good things, and then you could easily just forget about all the reasons why. And then as soon as you try to go back, you're like, oh, yes. And it's the same with alcohol. As soon as you go back, you're like, oh, yeah, this is the reasons why, so you got to just talk back to those voices that are, trying to convince you otherwise.
Oh, man, we are so going to go over time because you're going to force me to give it the quote. Now that you brought up relationships, I love the analogy. We were in an abusive relationship, and who hasn't judged a person, sadly, typically a woman, who goes back to an abusive boyfriend or spouse, right? That's what we were doing. Why did you do it? Because one, you romanticize it. I think you forgive them. You think it's going to get better, and you can't imagine your life without them. As awful as an existence as it is, you just can't. And so I love to quote the song by Kelsey Ballerina, I Miss Me More, basically leaving an emotional.
I like that song. Ballerini.
Ballerini.
Thank you. It might be a ballerina too, but Ballerini.
But yeah, it was all about a bad breakup with a bad lover. And I love it. She said, I thought I'd miss you when it ended. I thought it hurt me, but it didn't. I thought I'd miss you, but I miss me more. It's so good.
Do you say cat like in the car when you're driving around and flare it? I could see that.
I do. In fact, you're going to make me sing a little more. I forgot I had dreams. I forgot I had wings. Forgot who I was before I ever kissed you. Yeah, I thought I'd miss you, but I miss me more. But that's so good. I forgot I had dreams. I forgot I had wings. I mean, that was me. That was the kid that didn't drink till 3 months into college. And then it was all over from there. And now 2+ years into sobriety, and I said a couple years ago, I just wanted to get to a place where I could again have dreams and goals and all that. And now I have. So yeah.
Too many, right? It's like, can't keep up with them all.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. Every song in that, I won't sing anymore, but every song, every lyric in that song applies to both relationships and this. It's so good. Well, I'll say one more. She said, I put on my old records that I hid in the back of the closet, and then I turned them up to 10 and I played them all again. And I love that just because music returned to my life. I could not enjoy music in the throes of alcoholism because I had so many negative thoughts in my head. I had to drown them out with talk radio. And now I love it.
That's so funny you talk about the music and lyrics, because part of the reason why I was late today, full disclosure, I was blow drying my hair, but I was also, while I was blow drying my hair, because you know me, I definitely I'm a multitasker. While I was blow drying my hair, I was rewriting lyrics to a song that I love, and I'm trying to make it the lyrics into a breakup with alcohol. So meanwhile, I'm like blow drying my hair, and then I'm also like in my AI, like helping me to recreate. So I can't share yet what it's going to be, but it's going to be really good. But literally, that's what I've been doing this afternoon.
Oh my God, that's so funny because it's got to be our ADD brain, creative brains. Because I was just, I love to sing sober Megan, sober Megan, sober Megan, and then sober Cappy. All right, let's get down to business. We were going to talk about the fact that Megan is also a former gambling addict as well, but we're going to have to hit that quickly at the end because we have so much to discuss, but I do think that is fascinating. So we want to talk about some of the lies that the voice will tell you and essentially how to overcome them. One thing I'd love to point out is what the voice is. And I've only heard Dr. Cappy explain it so eloquently that voice is the neural pathway that we built up and ingrained and built it into a super highway that's just convinced alcohol is the answer to everything. And to me, what defines an alcoholic is that, and you don't have to be an alcoholic for this, but what truly defines an alcoholic is that that neural pathway never goes away. Most of them, if you stop using them, they will eventually atrophy and die off. But that voice stays with us for life. It's our only life sentence. But every day that we don't drink, it gets weaker and we get stronger, and only alcohol can reinvigorate it. So we can be in permanent remission as long as we don't drink. I mean, you would take that deal with cancer in a heartbeat. So whether you're truly or not, even if you're just a gray area drinker, it's still an ingrained addiction. So that voice is still going to stay with you for a very long time, possibly for life as well. So I love the quote that Claude just gave me. I'm going to credit him. I can't believe I'm not going to take credit, but it says, that voice is not you. It's not your character. It's a neurological pattern that learned how to speak your language. How good is that?
Well,
right?
I one up on Claude because I like to think about it like it's like a bear hibernating, and that it's asleep, especially so like where we're at, it's asleep. We put the bear into hibernation and hopefully for the rest of our life. But if we introduce like one drink, and this is like what I just will tell myself, or is that we wake it up. And it might wake up slowly and it might just start to like rustle around. And so that first time we drink, it might be like, okay, nothing crazy happened. It's not that bad. And then like the next time, like he starts to wake up more. And so now it's like, now we're drinking a little bit more. And then all of a sudden we're like full blown right back into it. So it's always there. So I tried to like tell my clients or any of the women in my community, like, it is there. It's the bear. It's hibernating. Do not wake it up. Don't reintroduce that one, because that neural pathway is still there. It's just so weakened. And as soon as we have one, our brain's like, oh yeah, that's what we do. And next thing you know, we're right there. So, that's kind of how it goes.
That's very good, Megan. Then we'll start with that one. The big lie that maybe I can moderate. I had a buddy text me recently. He said he hit 4 years, but he said, I think I could now drink responsibly. He goes, if it wasn't for not wanting to give up that 4 years, I'd give it a shot. And I flipped out. I was like, dude, no, do not even think about it. We cannot moderate. I love the quote I think I made, that the only people that can moderate are those that don't need to try to moderate. It's a little heavy, but it just means, if you need to try to moderate, you can't. If your normal drinkers just essentially moderate on their own. And you can't just stick to beer and wine, at least if you're one of those that also drank the hard stuff, because we've all, tried. No rule you make is going to stick, right? The times I just tried to stick to wine, and there was times I said, I think I could go back. I've learned every lesson. I just want to go and be able to drink with the people. I think I could just drink beer for the rest of my life. No way.
Ugh. Well, first, the whole moderation thing. I think even if I do believe, like, if I were to go back and start and reintroduce it into my life, like that, I would end up back where I was, like depressed in bed and like all the things. But also, I don't even want to moderate, even if I could. I've gotten to a point where I just think it's just so... There's nothing good that it would bring me. Even one, that makes you feel annoyed because you want more now. Like, if, you know what I mean? Like, or it still gives you like a headache. It's still, one is not good for you. It's proven. Like, there's no safe. So even if I could moderate, I wouldn't want to. I do feel like I'm at a place where it's not even, I don't want one. Like, that doesn't sound like good to me. And I could just have whatever else in replacement for it. So, and then what you also said about, like wine. Okay, so there's a lot of women in my community I definitely feel like drank wine. And I always wondered too, like, if I never discovered wine, because that was when I started drinking at home, was when I drank wine. Like, would I have developed alcohol use disorder if like I didn't start drinking wine as like self-care and, drinking at home. I mean, don't get me wrong, when I went out, I would rip it up, and especially if I was drinking vodka and stuff like that. But like I wasn't really a home drinker. So I don't know. Like I just feel like wine is like so equally just as dangerous. It doesn't matter. It's all the same to me. Wine, beer, liquor, whatever. It's still all ethanol, and it all does the same thing. But wine is so much sneakier because they sell it as being like, oh, it's self-care and it's fancy and all, and it's totally normal to just drink it at home after a long night. So that I think that's why it's just, it is so much trickier for sure, and gets people without them even realizing it.
That is a good point. And yes, not that, just drinking beer or wine is a good thing anyway. But in my case, if I truly just drank beer, I could always only drink so many beers. It was just too filling for me. So I never drank beer during my days. I now enjoy NA beer. It's great, but I never drank it in those days. So yes, why would you want to anyway? But it's hard to convince some people that are still in the throes of it.
You're right too about the person who had 4 years and they're like, I think I could go back and moderate that. That is some really dangerous thinking. And that really is that relapse drifting, just having those thoughts of like, yeah, well, I really believe I could go back and just do it normally now. I'm not gonna, because I don't want to lose my time, but I really feel I could. Like that is very, like if that was somebody like I'd be like, go, you gotta get to a meeting, because those are the thoughts that like next thing you know, you're drinking, and if we ignore them, but obviously she shared it with you and stuff, so that's good. But those thoughts are, I think, like very dangerous and like kind of like red flags for sure.
Yes, absolutely. Good reminder. I say, you have to make that call. As soon as that voice starts whispering is when you have to attend a meeting, ideally share or make that call. If you wait to make that call till you're on the verge of taking that drink, it's typically too late. That's why no one makes the call. Your voice has already made up its mind. It doesn't want to be talked out of that. What are you drinking there, Megan?
I'm drinking, sorry for the little can opener, Ruby Red Grapefruit Polar Seltzer.
Very nice. Now, what would you say to people that say drinking just seltzer water is boring?
I mean, I don't think it's boring. If you think it's boring, okay, then whatever, but I do try to spruce it up a little bit. My favorite is Saratoga, the big ones. Like if I go out and they're like, oh, we have the little individual, I'm like, do you have the big one? Because I will drink it all. And so in it with a wine glass, a white wine glass, and like a bunch of limes. So that when I'm out, which is not often, like that feels really good. I don't even feel it literally is so satisfying. And the last time I was like, oh yeah, this is so good. And it's like, wow, who would have ever thought I would be saying that? But I think, it's nice when there's other options when you go out. I was already actually thinking about that for this comedy show I'm going to tonight. I'm like, I got to look at the menu and see what they have for mocktails or NA drinks, because I'm sure it's going to be like soda water with a lime. And I'll just have like 20 of those. So yeah, if you think it's boring, then I guess it's boring, but you could totally have fun with it. And I think it's very refreshing.
Yeah. I just kicked coffee. I'm on day 11. Thank you very much.
You're crazy.
What's that?
So you're crazy. Just kidding. No,
even the half calf was. I'm trying not to become trying not to preach, but it's the most alcoholic's choice of alternative. And ABB, I say anything but booze, but it does give us anxiety. So it's probably one of the worst things because we're trying to overcome our anxiety. And that's a big part of the reason why we drank. So it's so funny that we drank alcohol at night and that gave us anxiety in the morning. And then what we drink in the morning, coffee, which also gave us anxiety. But
I know it is. Yeah. I had like a sign that said that, and it was like coffee in the morning for something and wine at night. I don't know. It's like, and one day, like when I was like a year and a half sober, I was like, I'm throwing this sign out. It was like, I had it hidden under like my sink and it was like therapeutic. Like I'm throwing that out. Like that's not me anymore. So.
Yeah. And I've said recently, I got slightly dependent on Klonopin as well for my anxiety, but I realized I was mainly taking it to counteract the coffee. So I only take very sparingly now, and it's really my choice to reduce the ADD overwhelm. It's an alternative there. So I thought I was going to switch to matcha, which is much better. I know it's not the same as coffee, but it's less caffeine and it's a much smoother release of the caffeine. And it's got L-theanine in it, which is great for the mind. But,
yeah, I love L-theanine. That's in my recess Paloma drinks that lemon balm and L-theanine. So I have one of those every night, pretty much. That's like my addiction. That and peanut butter pretzel, Quinn's peanut butter pretzels.
Oh, very nice. Where do you stand on matcha?
You know what? I bought the frother, the thingy, and I bought sometime, but I don't know. I've never really actually had it, and I don't know. It's just not.
All right.
I drink black coffee.
Yeah, it's technically a form of a green tea. It comes in a powder form. So yeah, it's nothing like coffee, but it's really good with milk instead of water, with vanilla, or even better, chocolate collagen powder, which I take for my fine skin, and pistachio flavoring. Starbucks makes a Dubai chocolate matcha, which is very expensive, but if you buy those ingredients, you can make it at home for much less. And it's like making a delicious shake. It's really good. But I will admit, I had a hard time drinking that in the morning instead of coffee. So, but I kicked it. I plan to go to matcha, and I'm just sticking with seltzer water. I drink mainly lemon and lime. But you know what? I'm drinking ginger in the morning to give it a little more of a kick, as if I'm drinking coffee. So that's it.
Did you have a headache in your first days of giving it up?
I did not. I still think I felt some withdrawal in terms of just in my chest and all that, which is odd because you would think I don't have the cortisol-inducing beverage to give me anxiety, but I did feel weird the first few days. I love the meme that says, I don't even like coffee anymore. It's just my emotional support beverage. So I think it was this whole process has been very similar to giving up alcohol. You know, I've tried many, many times to give up coffee. It takes what it takes. This time I just made up my mind, which is Robert Downey Jr. says, and we might circle back on this, quitting isn't the hard part. It's the decision to quit. That's the hard part. So I finally just said, this is not good for me. It's not agreeing with me. And that's it. I'm done. But I think I felt naked without it. Sort of like when we early sobriety, we feel like we're without skin. So, you know, I thought this brown water was magically giving me this, you know, internal fortitude that I know I have that strength on my own. But I thought I needed this brown water to bring it out of me. I would take big gulps of it before I would share or do anything, get a haircut, go to the dentist. It was crazy, I didn't even have anxiety for the dentist, and I would still be sitting in the parking lot. Anytime I drank coffee in the morning, I had to drink it all day to get me through the day. Crazy.
Wow,
I could not moderate. Oh, that's the point. I could not moderate coffee.
Oh, I can. I definitely can. I don't do it like after a certain time. I don't even like want to do it. I'm not like fighting to not, like I have my like 1 K-cup in the morning, maybe 2, only because the other one went cold and I didn't want to heat it up. But yeah, I'd say I'm shocked. Like I don't do like those gross Dunkin' Donuts iced coffees that everybody does here, or no, I do my little cup. That's it. Yes, there's one thing I can like do in moderation.
Yes. You know,
but I get killer headaches if I don't have it for one day. Like, so bad.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. And you drink full calf.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So again, I think I drank half calf, even tried to water it down in some cases. So I think I had as much of an emotional, sort of just like alcohol. I certainly didn't drink it for enjoyment. And I didn't really have physical withdrawal as much. I always drank it as a social tool or to overcome the perfectionist, people pleasing, or that I always had the pressure to be entertaining. So same thing. So, you know, Dr. Cappy also defines an addiction to me is a bit of a misnomer when it comes to alcoholism. An addiction is just an ingrained habit that you've built up that you can potentially beat with willpower. An addiction disorder is much more ingrained, and you really can't beat it with willpower. Your cortex shuts down. You're at the mercy of your midbrain, and you have to do the work, because to overcome that permanently entrenched neural pathway. I'm not sure I have a coffee disorder, but I know I need to be off of it for a long time. That pathway is so built up that associates coffee with making me more productive and even me making me a little gutsier, that I need to break that, let that pathway ideally die off. But I'm not sure it ever will. But it definitely won't with alcohol. But maybe I could try. I've tried like a week and gone back and drank normally for a day or two, just like with alcohol. And then, yeah, it came roaring back. So getting back to that, yes, you alluded to that. People that think they can drink normally, no. What I like to say is, and I once quit for 3.5 years before, but I did it on my own. So I didn't enjoy life sober. And I wasn't in community to remind me what can happen. And so I thought I could drink normally. The good news was I could. Bad news, not for long. First night, because by then your dopamine receptors, they return to baseline levels, because when we're in the throes of addiction, we lose a ton of receptors, which is why we need to drink more and more to get the same effect. So those do return, and we basically have a low tolerance. So I had just 2 shots the first night I returned to drinking, and I was in cloud 9. And then the next time I went out, I had a couple beers, but within a week, I was right back to it, and I knew.
Right. The bear, the hibernation, it was slowly starting to wake up, and then he's like ready to, and we're back to what it was like. So
Good.
It's just not worth it.
Good circle back. That's what I was going to say that after you said the bear. That's exactly right. And I didn't understand that myself. So anyone who doesn't, that's how it works. And that's why you can initially drink normally, but your brain catches up to it very quickly. And it, boom, you lose those receptors again, and you just need to drink more and more to get the same effect. So don't, as I told my friend after 4 years, don't even think about it. Don't even think about it.
So what happens when because sometimes when we like get to a certain point, we might be having like thoughts of drinking, but maybe, and sometimes they're not always like the good ones where it's like, but I think I can moderate, or I'm just for this one thing, it's going to, because it's whatever, like I want to go like just be with everybody else and be drinking, like, and I'm only going to have one and stuff like that. But sometimes when we're going through stuff and we feel really bad, and we want to like self-sabotage, and we don't really care about the repercussions, because there's been times definitely where I've been going through things and kind of like, the consequences, it's like, you're going to feel like shit. It could put you back to where you were, but you don't care, because you're just like, you just want to numb out. You just want to not feel whatever that you're going through. So like, how do you then navigate those feelings? And obviously like, that could be like a whole long answer, but if someone's having those feelings, like that happens sometimes. I think we don't talk about that enough. Like that's hard for people to come and be like, I'm thinking about drinking and I don't care of what the consequences would be. And that when I was trying to quit for so long, that was usually when I would go back. I'd be like, I don't really freaking care. I just want to drink right now, and I want to not think about my life, and I don't care if I feel like crap tomorrow. But that kept me obviously in the cycle for a long time. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. I posted just this morning about how the word intoxicated means into poison. It means to poison, basically. And a woman commented that she had never heard that. And I've never heard anyone else say it, but they must be out there. But it just hit me one day when I was talking about taking words back, like drinking. Why does drinking have to mean alcohol? So if someone says, do you drink? Yeah, I drink. I love to drink NA beers. I still drink. And tipsy, I'm tipsy on life. I love that song, Tipsy, even though it is clear about that. Intoxicate means to poison. And I said, even if you don't love yourself enough now, if you get sober and join community, you will.
Yeah, and then you won't want to hurt yourself and things like that. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. You will care. But And one more note, you did say it's true about moderating. I know people want to moderate because they feel they're missing out. They get the FOMO. They want to be just at the bar, drinking with the friends. But as you said, why would you even want to moderate? I mean, we're further along. I'm 2+ years. You're how many years sober?
5.5.
5.5. Kudos.
Crazy. Yeah. So weird.
Yeah, right? It's amazing. And yes, it gets easier, but it's that voice is always there. And yeah, I've had to battle off a few times recently, which I've talked about if you're a loyal Sober Cappy follower. But so it's easier said than done, but it's true. Why would you even want to moderate at this point after all we've learned about the fact that, I mean, it is poison. And then even one drink screws with you, even your sleep. When we just know more and more how crucial 7 hours sleep is really the goal. Even now that I'm super sober without the caffeine, I still struggle to get my goal is to get 7 hours sleep over 8 hours, and that's still, the struggle is real, but even have one drink. That's even what got my quote about the promises of alcohol are all lies is this great quote from a longtime AA member. And he says, I drank for happiness and became unhappy. I drank for joy and became miserable. I drank for sleep and woke up tired. So isn't that even there's a lie. I mean, technically it helps you get to sleep, but not for long. Yeah. So
and then the joy part too that you just mentioned, that was what I was thinking. Like when I think of why I don't want to moderate, be like, people who drink feel joy less than people who don't drink. And so that keeps me from, your baseline of joy and how you experience life and how you experience joy. Like when you're drinking, it's way down. That's why things like a puppy or a baby or flowers or a sunset, they're not impressive when we're drinking. And so it's those little things. So that ability to really feel joy in sobriety when we're clear-minded, that, that's not worth it to me to try to moderate and have one drink. I don't want to lose that. I still I'll still be out for a walk and I'll see flowers or something and be like, oh my God, I got to take a picture of that. Or that's so beautiful. I don't know. I never noticed that stuff when I was in my drinking days. And I wouldn't even have to be drinking at that point, but your baseline of just walking around life, you're just meh. I don't know. Your joy level is just lower. Your ability to feel joy.
Yeah. I have videos on everything on YouTube, and one is on the hedonic set point, your pleasure baseline. And alcohol, the artificial dopamine, hijacks it. And that's, again, why you can't experience what you just said, pleasure in normal things. You need to get way up here. But if you stay sober, stay patient, it resets and comes back down to the point I say I get euphoric just brushing my teeth, which I once shared. I do believe it. I shared in a meeting that once, and a woman put in the comments, Cappy, what kind of toothbrush are you using? But it is true. Believe it. You'll get there. It takes a while. Yes, you get into a gray period. It's called anhedonia, where you cannot experience any pleasure in ordinary things. You're going to be miserable for a while. I'm sorry. You really do just have to accept that. And as it resets, and it can take up to 6 months, maybe even a year. But I like to say you can accelerate that. The more work you do, the more you can accelerate your sobriety. For instance, Dr. Cappy says, sharing accelerates your sobriety by 566%.
Oh, yeah, I heard that.
But for real, I mean, it absolutely does give a massive dopamine kick. When you're ready, you have to be ready. I know some people, they are so self-conscious. I mean, I think the biggest reason people fear sharing is judgment, not only from others, but of themselves. So yes, you've got to build up
more themselves, I feel like, because then saying it out loud, it's it makes it real, or it makes it. But there's a saying that I love by Anne Van Camp, says, shame dies when stories are told in safe places. And I believe that, when we just share more, we share our things, with people who get it, because not everybody in our life gets it. So we share, oh my gosh, I, was my thing of I was throwing up on my bathroom floor, choking. I thought I was going to die. And my kids were sleeping in their beds, so innocently with no idea. And that's so hard to say at first. But now, obviously I've worked through it all and things like that. But when we just share and put ourselves out there, it's we're free. And then someone else is going to be like, oh my God, thank God you shared that, because I had a similar, and now people feel less alone and not so just stuck in their shame.
Big time. Yeah. Pain shared is pain halved. How about that?
Oh, halved? It's in half, cuts in half?
Cuts in half.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. I haven't heard that one.
Yeah. I read that. Problems shared, same thing. you feel better. I sent you a voice memo with a neurological issue I have from I have alcoholic neuropathy. I've had it for years. And foolishly, this is where I'm a big fan of WebMDing, but this is where it can hurt you. Basically said there was no cure, and it's just I had numbness in my left heel, and nothing I can do about it. I never even brought it to my doctor. I get a physical every year, but it's gotten worse. And now I have it in my right heel, and I've got an additional condition. Oh, that was my post today, by the way. It's that alcohol is toxic to your nerves. Mm-hmm. And that's when I said, if you don't care about that now, if you don't love yourself enough to care about that, you will. When you get sober, you will. When I was drinking, I didn't want to die, but I was waiting to die. And now I want to live forever.
Forever, and be healthy and feel good. And that's something we talk about that a lot in the community. It's just like we have something that's called Wellness Wednesday. So we talk about, and it's literally like, did you make your doctor's appointment? Did you get your blood work? For women, like, did you get your mammogram? Like, did you go make your dentist appointment? Because a lot of times, like, all this stuff goes through the wayside. And so a lot of these women have been drinking for, say, 30 years. They're like, I haven't been to the doctor. I don't even want to know what my blood work is because I've been drinking so long. And then I help them and help guide them. Like, just go get your freaking blood work. Let's get your baseline. Let's see where it's at. Make these changes. And then I'm like, it's better to go sooner because now it's probably maybe your numbers aren't so good. And then when you go, say, 6 months without drinking and making all these healthy changes, you get to go again and be like, whoa, and you could hopefully see like a big drastic change. So that's the cool part too, is that you get to like take control of your health as best as possible. Yeah, sometimes there is some damage that we've done that isn't like reversible, but we can make up for it in so many other areas and just I feel like sobriety is aging in reverse. Actually, it is. I just had that function health testing I told you about. My age is 11 years younger. And it's actually I think it says like I'm 31 years old, my biological age right now, which is pretty cool because I'm 43. And that's because I haven't been drinking for 5.5 years.
That is fantastic. Yeah. I look forward to getting my physical results now every year. It's so great. Oh, and don't lie to your doctor, by the way. They're not judging you. They just want to get you healthy. Even if they were judging you, who cares? I hate cliches, but it's so good that, what other people think of you is none of your business. I mean, it's so good. That's so true. Which, going back to sharing, just to complete that loop, yeah, I get it. Like that. I didn't share for 3 months in community.
Really? You just sat there? Did you have your camera on?
Can you believe it? No way.
So you had no camera, no share. You just listened for 3 months?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, the reason I don't do the camera anyway, and highly encourage, and I bless the people that have their cameras on. Like, it's so great that there's always some people that have them on because you need at least the first screen, you want cameras. But I'm too ADD. I won't listen. If I stand there in front of my computer or my phone, I would just be goofing off. So I do better. I do chores. I do mindless chores so that it actually allows me to listen. And I listen to every word.
I could see that. But yes. I'm like huge like camera person. Like I encourage it. Sometimes we have 100% cameras on for the meetings. And I'm like, yes, like, woohoo. Like, because especially if we have smaller meetings, like we're not like hundreds of people in the meetings where it's like, if someone doesn't have their camera on, it's not a big deal. But when you have a smaller group and someone's sharing vulnerably, like I feel it's important for everybody to be engaged. But that being said, like I'm hosting, so it's easier to have my camera on because I'm like, I'm doing stuff and talking. But yeah, I'd be like, like if I was just like a participant maybe. So I'd rather have somebody there and listening in and camera off doing whatever than not there at all because they feel like they have to put their camera on. So yeah, I mean, I totally get that.
Okay, that'll do it for part 1. Thanks for listening and or watching. Part 2 is coming up next week, and I got to give myself kudos. That was the first podcast. I'm not sure I said it. I talked about being coffee free, but first one I did without coffee. I've since done 2 more, and it's just amazing. We have so much internal fortitude within us, and it's a shame so many of us are beverageaholics and think we need those beverages to bring it out. I never forget a woman that said, imagine using a crutch if you don't need it. And that's what I was doing with coffee now 2+ years into sobriety. So I'm really proud of myself. I normally would be gulping it before the start of a podcast or sharing on a sobriety call or shopping or going to get my hair cut, anything else, going to the dentist. I've done all those things coffee free. So it's a lot like getting sober, and it's just as challenging in terms of coffee being everywhere, just like alcohol. So kudos to me. And if you're trying it, remember that you're so much stronger than you give yourself credit for, physically and mentally. So that'll do it as always. And I have a YouTube somewhere on that, as well as every other topic you can imagine under Sober Cappy on YouTube. So please check that out. And as always, like, share, subscribe, submit a quick review and or a quick rating. Just takes 2 seconds on Spotify or Apple. And I'd greatly appreciate it. All right. Peace.